again, I gotta say this. Every once in a while, you come across a take so wildly off base, so detached from basic football logic, that it almost becomes a form of comedy. And that's exactly what we just got from a former NFL quarterback turned content creator who threw out the idea that Cole Kmet, yes, that Cole Kmet might be a cut candidate this offseason. Not traded, not phased out slowly, not demoted on a depth chart, cut, gone, out the door. And the justification, cap savings. As if that even holds up under 5 seconds of scrutiny. I saw it, I heard it, and honestly, I had to sit down and rewind to make sure it wasn't satire. But no, it was serious. So let's unpack this circus of a take. First, let's establish something right off the bat. Cole Kmet has been one of the few consistent offensive players for the Bears in the past several seasons. He's not flashy. He's not going to be featured in highlight reels the same way as Travis Kelce or George Kittle, but the dude produces. He blocks, he catches, he stays available, and he grinds through bad quarterback play, coaching turnover, and one of the most anemic offensive schemes we've seen in years. And somehow, despite all of that, this guy's the one we're suddenly questioning. The take came from Kurt Benkert, who's now doing work for Bleacher Report, and he dropped a segment ranking players who might be cut or traded after June 1st. Alright, not a terrible concept in theory. This time of year is all about speculation, cap analysis, and roster math. But this particular pick, saying Cole Kmet might be a surprise post-June cut, takes the cake as one of the most misinformed ideas I've heard all off-season. Let's start with the obvious, the numbers, because if you're going to make a cut him for cap savings argument, you better come correct with the facts. According to Benkert, the Bears could potentially save around $12 million if they let go of Kmet. But in reality, the actual savings if they cut him post-June 1st is just over $100,000. That's it. $100,000. That's like NFL pocket change. You're telling me you want to cut a starting caliber tight end, a guy who's been producing steadily for 4 seasons for barely enough savings to sign a depth cornerback? Come on. And even if we toss the cap hit to the side for a minute, what sense does it make from a football standpoint? Cole Kmet might not be the flashiest name in the NFL, but his role in this offense is far more important than people realize. Even in a down year, he pulled in nearly 50 catches, close to 500 yards, and found the end zone 4 times. That's in an offense that was sputtering almost every week. If you zoom out and look at his production over the last 4 seasons, you're getting north of 600 yards and about 5 touchdowns per year. That's consistency. That's reliability. That's value, especially for a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, who's going to need dependable targets to move the chains. And now some folks are talking like this guy's a liability, as if Cole Kmet is the roster spot holding the team back. Please, let's also not forget that Kmet just turned 26 years old. 26! He's younger than a few players who just got drafted. This isn't some washed veteran on the tail end of his career. He's still developing, still evolving, still learning. There's plenty of room for growth, even if we acknowledge that he probably won't turn into a superstar. He's not suddenly going to become a YAC monster or a dominant run-after-catch threat, but that's never been his game. He's about toughness, smart route running, and doing the dirty work in the trenches. And you need that, especially when you're installing a new offense with a rookie quarterback. The other piece of this flawed argument is Colson Lovelin, the rookie tight end who just got drafted. Now look, I love the pick. I think Lovelin has major upside. He's long, athletic, a natural pass catcher, and could absolutely become a big-time player in this league. But let's pump the brakes for a second. The guy hasn't even practiced yet. He's coming off a shoulder injury. He's a rookie. He hasn't taken a single rep in an NFL practice, and now we're ready to crown him as the new T1 and cut Kmet loose? That's lunacy. This league is hard enough as it is. Rookies take time to adjust, especially at tight end, where you've got to master blocking schemes and route trees while learning how to match up against grown men who have been in the league for years. It's one of the most demanding positions for first-year players. And yet somehow someone thinks the Bears are just going to toss out their starting tight end because of a rookie with upside. That is not how roster building works. And speaking of the scheme, Ben Johnson, the Bears' new offensive coordinator, loves using 12 personnel. That means 2 tight ends on the field. You need depth. You need versatility. You need guys who can block and catch. Detroit ran one of the highest percentages of 12 personnel last season, and Johnson's influence is already being seen in the Bears' offseason moves. That's part of why they went out and got Lovelin in the first place, to complement Kmet, not replace him immediately. These guys can work together. That's the plan. And if you've been following what's happening in OTAs, it's pretty clear that Kmet is already being heavily featured. They're moving him around, getting creative with formations, and showing signs of how much he'll be involved this season. Now, if you want to talk about next year, fine. Maybe next year it becomes more of a discussion. If Lovelin progresses quickly, if Kmet underperforms, if the team needs financial flexibility, sure, then you evaluate. But in 2025? With a rookie quarterback, a fresh offensive system, and a roster full of young skilled players still trying to find chemistry, cutting a reliable tight end makes absolutely zero sense. Zero. You're not saving real money. You're not opening up some magical roster spot. You're just making life harder for your rookie quarterback and putting more pressure on unproven backups to fill a void they're not ready for. Let's talk about depth for a second. If you cut Kmet, who's your TE1 while Lovelin recovers, and adjusts, Durham Smythe? He's a solid tight end 3. He's not your starting guy. Steven Carlson? That's a practice squad level player. Joe Wilson, Jordan Murray, those are camp bodies. If you cut Kmet, you're banking on a rookie to carry the load and backups to hold down the fort. And that's just a recipe for disaster. Or worse, you're forced to go out and bring back someone like Mercedes Lewis, who's clearly past his prime. None of that makes this team better. And here's the other thing. Even if for some reason you did want to move on from Cole Kmet, he has trade value. You don't just release starting caliber tight ends with 4 years of steady production. And upside still on the table. There are teams that would absolutely pick up the phone. The Steelers were reportedly looking into trading for Jonnu Smith. You think they wouldn't jump at a guy like Kmet? A guy who's younger, healthier, and arguably more productive in recent years? Of course they would. So even if you're dead set on parting ways, you get something in return. But again, that's a conversation for the future, not now. And it's not like Kmet is some locker room problem. He's been a steady leader, a consistent presence, and someone who's handled the ups and downs in Chicago like a pro. If anything, he's the kind of guy you want around during a transition period. When you bring in a new quarterback, a new playbook, a new identity, you don't just strip away your veteran contributors. You need them. And Kmet has earned that trust, not just from coaches, but from teammates too. So yeah, calling this one of the worst takes in the internet era might sound harsh. But when you step back and really look at the logic, or the lack thereof, it's hard to disagree. The numbers don't add up. The football reasoning is flawed. The timing is terrible. The depth chart doesn't support it. The scheme contradicts it. And the player in question has done nothing to warrant being on the chopping block. It's a swing and a miss on every level. And to be clear, I'm not saying Kmet is some untouchable, elite, never-to-be-questioned superstar. Far from it. There are absolutely areas where he can improve. His route running can get sharper. His yards after catch could use a boost. He's not going to dominate a game the way some of the elite tight ends can. But that's not the standard here. The standard is, can he be a reliable, steady, productive piece in an evolving offense? And the answer is absolutely yes. He's done it already. And with better coaching and a better supporting cast, there's a strong chance he could take another step forward. And trust me, the Bears are going to need every bit of that production. With DJ Moore, Rome Oduns, Keenan Allen, and now Loveland all in the mix, there are a lot of mouths to feed. But that also means defenses won't be able to key in on just one or two options. That opens things up for a guy like Kmet to find soft spots in coverage and take advantage of mismatches. And if Ben Johnson's system does what we think it can, Kmet's versatility is going to be a big asset. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Chicago is buzzing with speculation following the unexpected arrival of star wide receiver Tyreek Hill at the Bears facility earlier this week. While no official statement has been made by either Hill or the Chicago Bears organization, sources close to the situation hint that something significant might be brewing behind the scenes. Witnesses report that Hill was greeted with what can only be described as a celebratory atmosphere upon his arrival. Staff members and even a few players were seen exchanging enthusiastic handshakes and wide smiles, adding fuel to the rumors that the Bears could be eyeing a blockbuster move involving the Miami Dolphins' dynamic playmaker. Although Hill remains under contract with the Dolphins, his presence in Chicago has left many wondering whether trade talks could be underway, or if this visit was simply a friendly gesture, perhaps tied to promotional commitments or personal reasons. NFL insiders have pointed out that with the Bears aggressively retooling their roster in the offseason and in need of a proven offensive weapon to complement their rising young quarterback, the potential fit makes sense from a football perspective. Adding to the intrigue, Hill posted a cryptic message on social media shortly after his arrival in Chicago, sparking even more speculation among fans and analysts. The post, featuring a simple bear emoji followed by fire symbols, has been interpreted by some as a playful nod to the swirling rumors, though it could also be an innocent coincidence. For now, neither the Bears nor the Dolphins have commented on the situation, leaving fans and pundits to wonder whether Chicago is on the verge of pulling off one of the most shocking moves of the offseason. Tyreek Hill's electrifying talent and game-breaking speed would undoubtedly transform the Bears' offense. But until more concrete information emerges, this story remains firmly in the realm of speculation. One thing is certain: Chicago sports media will be watching closely, and Bears fans everywhere will be dreaming about what could be an unprecedented addition to their team. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.